Hi, Statesman Nation. We're here with Kirsten Foster as we preview the 2024-2025 season, women's bowling season, that is. Coach Foster, let's talk about last year, and then we'll get into this year.
Yeah, so last year's team had quite a few seniors, a lot of seniors that had unfinished business, as they called it. So they essentially left everything on the line. They didn't really have much left to give at the end of it, and they did really well, especially the second semester once we kind of figured out some more of our dynamics. So they had a very strong second semester, and kind of hoping that progress and success leads into this year.
Yeah, you got the monkey off the back there and winning the conference and taking care of Baker and all of that. So has to feel like you guys are moving. Obviously, been there, but clip that hurdle, clear that hurdle, I should say, and it's moving forward. So, all right, let's talk about the off season and obviously trying to replace some of those seniors on the roster and obviously continue at that level that you've been at.
Yeah. So, I mean, do them some justice. Trying to replace some of those seniors is difficult. We lost an All-American, lost other key all-conference players, and just the vibes that they brought to the team chemistry. So trying to recreate that was not going to happen. So instead of recreating it, we decided to go in a different direction and create a new team culture. And so we brought in different pieces that we thought would help build up that team culture. And so I'm excited to see it. It's going to be different. Always making changes is kind of nervous because you don't know if it's going to be good. You don't know if it's going to be bad. But I'm really excited for it, just seeing what they've done with each other at practice and how they're communicating and how they're meshing. I'm really excited about it. They do really well at handling their conflict. They just talk about it and they come to a resolution and then just move on. So I like what I'm seeing so far, which is really good, especially on a women's team. So I'm really excited to see what they do with this year. So this weekend will be fun. I'm excited for it.
Awesome. Okay, let's talk about the returners first. There are some individuals there that have a lot of good experience that will certainly help you through the early growing pains here in the first couple meets. So let's talk about some of the returners, and we'll talk about the newcomers.
Yeah, so returners-wise, probably got to start with Caitlin Radliff. She's been on varsity since her freshman year. We call her our power player. She just has a lot of revs and speed behind her shot, so she gets a lot of pin action. She also brings the comedy with her at tournaments. So if the team's down, she normally does some weird thing on the approach, and everyone's laughing. So love that. Really excited to see mine and her dynamic this year. We've already said we're just going to argue nonstop because everyone thinks it's funny. So, and now she's got, there's a freshman on the team that does the same antics with her. So it's really funny to watch because it just kind of gets at her a little bit. But it's really funny. The team gets on with it, and so I'm really excited to see what she does this year. She's put in a little bit of time into her game over the summer, and so she's looking really good right now. So I'm excited to see what her senior season brings for her. And we've been working a lot on her mental game and just kind of enjoying the moment and enjoying what she has in front of her and not stressing about if the scores don't necessarily line up. Another all-conference player we're bringing back, Sam Myers. She transferred to us from Rock Valley, where she was All-American on the JUCO level. So she had a great season last year. She's just kind of like our steady Eddie. You know what you're going to get from her. She doesn't have the crazy highs with her energy or the crazy lows, which is really nice because, if we're not bowling well, you need someone that's just that constant. But then if we're bowling great, she's also that constant that she's not going to let the excitement get to her and affect her shot making. So she's already kind of stepped into that leadership role a little bit because I would say last year with our senior class that we lost, they brought a ton of leadership with them. And the senior class this year has just graciously accepted that, and everyone's kind of stepped up in their own way. And so I'm really excited to see that. We're getting Isabel Diaz back off of a season-long injury last year. So she ended up having to get knee surgery, and she was cleared to come back to bowling right before postseason. And I was like, okay, well, we're not quite ready. So she has been just working hard this summer, doing physical therapy, doing rehab, practicing, getting some shots under her belt. So I'm really excited to see her come back. She's got a different energy level. She barks at people. So it's great.
Literally barks.
Literally barks
Okay,
at people.
right, I was
We do like team like voting at the end of the year, and one of them was most likely to bark at someone, and she won it. Almost hands down. It was. So yeah, she's a different kind of energy. You're never going to be bored with her around, ever. So I'm really excited to get that energy back. So I'm sure she'll be a key player this year. She's just now wrapping up her physical therapy, like 100% release. So I'm really excited to see what she brings. Some other returners, that not necessarily seniors, or I'm sorry, Olivia Nolte's a senior. I always forget she's a senior. I don't know why. She's making a comeback. Last year she worked really hard to earn her spot in varsity. She was one that kind of would go back and forth, but you know, she kind of really stepped into the role, learned everyone else's game, and so started really working on her communication skills, watching what's happening on the lanes. And so she not only was a great contributor on the lanes, but when she wasn't bowling, she was catching things that maybe even we were missing as coaches. So really excited to have her back. And then on the non-senior side, we got like Kelsey Exones coming back. Two-hander. She's bringing a lot of confidence with her. So I'm really excited. Last year she was another steady Eddie. She didn't get down. She didn't get excited. She just kind of did her thing, which is different than everyone else's. She was our only two-hander last year. So this year, watching her through trials, she was actually showing some authority with her shots and getting into them. And I was like, I'm all about this. You better bring this to tournaments because we're going to need more of that. So I'm really excited to see what she brings.
Okay, awesome. I'm guessing that's everybody. Before I cut you off here and talk about some of the new kids, like I said, we've got some spots to replace. So
yes. So I will say last year recruiting was a little bit on the difficult side. The pool just wasn't very big. So we did not bring as many in to replace what we lost numbers-wise. But they are each bringing something different to the table. So a freshman I mentioned earlier that likes to also get at Caitlin is Mason Houston. So I'm excited to see that dynamic grow, and then I'll be disappointed when that dynamic has to end at the end of the year. But I'm sure she'll find someone else to get at. We're bringing in Hannah Lee Songer. She's from Atumwa. She helped lead Atumwa to a state title last year on the high school side. So she's another one, just kind of steady Eddie, doesn't really get too excited, doesn't get too down, but she has a great ball roll, and so I'm excited to see her develop a little bit more. She'll actually be traveling with us for this first tournament, so she looks a little terrified, but it's okay. She says she's not, but you know, her face and her words say two different things, so we'll see. We'll see how she does this weekend. We brought in Emma Chenoweth. She is local to the area. She's one that she's learning the game. She joined the game a couple years ago, and so she's learning it. And so I'm excited because it's rarely do you get a player that you get to mold. And so it's kind of, I don't want to call her like a pet project, but it's kind of what it is. We get to work together and figure out what she wants out of her game, and then we get to mold it from scratch. So I'm really kind of excited to see how that works out for her. She's already making great progress. Now we're just working on building the arsenal and getting her ready for her first tournament in a couple weeks. And then Ashley Gorman. She's our only one that we got from out of state, also a two-hander. So Kelsey was really excited about that one. She was like, finally, someone who understands, because the games are just very different. So working with her, and I love the fact that her and Kelsey have already started working together because they each have different strengths in their games, and so they're learning from each other about their strengths to amplify their own games. So I'm really excited to see those two work together because they'll have at least 2 years.
great. Okay, let's talk about the schedule. Looks fairly similar to what we've had in the past, but let's highlight some of those tournaments that you're really excited about.
Yeah, so I would say excited tournaments. I mean, obviously Las Vegas is always a good one.
Yeah. Especially that you're the defending champions at the shootout.
So we're really excited about Vegas. I think I'm excited about it for different reasons than the girls' team, but that's fine. Age difference. So really excited about that one. Really excited to see how we do at the NAI Invitational. I think it's a really good preview to see how we're going to stack up against other teams. So kind of see what are some things we do really well at, but also on the other side see, okay, what are some things that we need to improve on before we hit the regionals and before we hit conference play. So really excited about that, especially because we also have got some new teams joining the mix. So, and then conference. Always love conference. This year, our conference, we made some really big changes in the off season. We are now, I'd have to go and look at the numbers, but I think we are currently the biggest conference on the women's side.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
that
There was
is-
a several team addition there. Yeah.
Yeah, so really excited. I don't think we got there, but we were really close to 12 teams, which would have gotten us 2 auto bids to nationals, which would have been really nice. So I'm hoping that next year we will get that second auto bid. But I'm excited for conference. We have our work cut out for us. Mount Mercy joined the mix, and they are one of the top ranked teams in the country, not just NAI in the country. So we do have our work cut out for us. But as a conference, we are a guinea pig for a new format. It is something that on the national level we have discussed several times. We just haven't been able to figure out a way to actually execute it. So a couple of coaches have worked on it, but we think we figured out a way to execute it, and we are testing it on the conference level. So our format is changing. So I'm really excited to see how it's going to play out. It makes the matches, you don't win the matches off of a fluke now. Like it's going to come down to who's executing the shots, who's picking up the spares, who's reading the lanes the best. So I'm really excited for that, because now I will say majority of the time the matches that we won, I felt like we were the better team. But I will also say there's times where we won matches where I think we just got luckier. And it is what it is. It happens in every sport. But this is going to help take away some of that luck. And so I'm excited for it, because there's also been matches that we lost because we were the unlucky team. So I'm excited to see how it plays out. I think it's going to set a standard for the national level. So it'll be interesting. I'm sure we'll have our kinks to work out, but it'll be kind of cool to be a part of that.
All right, let's put a bow on the whole thing. Like you said, this is a different team, different culture that you're going to try to implement and all of that. So what's it going to take for the team to be successful and reach the goals that you guys have set?
Trust the process. And I say that because I think we might start out slow, to be realistic. Everyone's trying to, like the varsity team, for at least half are gone, right? So now you're bringing in new people, you're bringing in new personalities, new dynamics. Trust the process. Have faith in your teammates. Just because that maybe they weren't here last year doesn't mean they don't have something to bring to the table. So really just kind of working on that, trusting each other, trusting that everyone's bringing something that's beneficial to the table, and knowing that at the end of the day, no matter what happens, we still have each other's backs, and just kind of believing in that team chemistry that they are fighting really hard for to bring to the table. And ultimately that will transpire on the lanes.
Awesome. All right, Kirsten Foster, women's bowling coach here at William Penn. The team starts up this weekend. Best of luck. It's a long season, as always, but we're excited to see them, and you can catch everything for women's bowling and all their sports, statesmanathletics.com, as well as all of our social media channels. Check out WPU Athletics. Okay. Thanks, Coach. Best of luck.